Good morning. I am Paramasivam, Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering. Now I wish to take the lecture on Introduction of Bearings. So now we consider these two diagrams shown in the diagram. So now we consider the first one where the weight is fixed or weight is placed on the roller. The another diagram where the weight is directly placed on the floor. Now, if you are considering two cases, in the first case we require less force to move the weight, whereas in the second case we need more force to move the weight. Say this is the reason there is coefficient of friction. In the first case the coefficient of friction is less, whereas in the second case the coefficient of friction is high. So, in order to overcome the friction, the main element, what we call bearing, is designed to fix, guide, hold and move the parts. The bearing is a machine element designed to fix, guide, hold moving parts and to reduce friction. It permits parts to rotate or move in a straight line or in a relatively rotary motion with very less friction. If you take application now, from the toys to aeroplanes and machine tools, precision instruments, household appliances, etc. Now we can, in short way, we can say no machine without bearing. Now there are two motions are there. One is linear motion, another one is rotary motion. In order to overcome the friction, in the linear motion we are using linear bearing, which allows the motion on a straight line. For example, we are providing a linear bearing for in the drawer of the table, whereas the rotary bearings allows the rotary motion or oscillating motion about the center. Now we look at the history of the development of bearing. So earlier, in the ancient days, the people were used to use ropes and then tie the rope around the stone and then they pulled. Okay. Now earlier, before they are using, as shown in the figure, they have used wooden rollers under the stone. Before that, what they have done, they have just poured more water on the surface so that the surface has little bit, the surface coefficient of friction is reduced. Later on, they have used the rollers, then the coefficient of friction is much reduced. So this is the earlier history for the development of the bearing. Then the another evidence for the bearing evolution of the bearing is that in a ship that is under the Roman Emperor Caligula's in Italy, they found a wooden table with wooden table with rotating platform. So the major changes took place in the design of bearing late 18th and earlier 19th centuries during the Industrial Revolution. And then Friedrich Fischer created a machine for milling and grinding the balls of equal size. So equal size and exact roundness. This creation gives a higher spawned the rolling bearing industry, or it gives the major development to the rolling bearing industry. So he is considered as the father of modern ball bearing. So there are two major classes of the bearings according to the elements. For example, here on the sliding bearing, another one is the rolling bearings. Whereas the sliding bearing are simply plain bearings are support moving parts on a thin film of lubricating oil. So here you can see the diagram, whereas this is the sliding bearing, whereas this is the internal shaft, another is the shaft or may be called as journal. This is the bearing in which the shaft is rotating, whereas this space is filled with oil. So now while it starts rotating, this oil comes to the bottom surface or bottom area and make the separate the metal to metal contact. Then ball bearings are also called as anti-friction bearing, designed to reduce the friction by providing smooth balls and rollers and a smooth inner and outer surface for the balls to roll against. To minimize the friction, contact surface in a bearing are separated by rolling element in the ball or roller bearing. Now we can see this diagram. The main components of the roller bearing is one is the inner ring out, another is the outer ring, then middle we can see the rolling element which is having point contact with the inner and outer rings, whereas this point contact is considered as higher kinematic pair. Now we see the classification of the sliding bearings. The sliding bearings are classified based on three categories. So one is based on the type of the load applied. So one is the radial bearing, another is the thrust bearing or axial bearing, then third one is the radial thrust bearings. Say the radial thrust bearings are, you can say, single collar thrust bearing, multi-collar thrust bearing and radial thrust bearings. I told you that now we are going to see the various classification. Now based on the load, the bearings are classified as one is radial bearing, then one is axial or thrust bearing, third one is radial and axial or radial and thrust bearing. So now we can see the diagram for us. So this is the shaft where the bearing is mounted here. So usually the bearing is indicated by like this. So now if the bearing is able to, this is the load acting radially, then if the load is acting, this is called axial, load axial. So based on the capability of the bearing to withstand the radial load or axial load, we are classifying it as radial bearing or axial bearing or axial radial bearings. We see this. So this is the single collar axial bearing, whereas this is the bearing which capable to withstand the radial load, and then it is called radial bearing. And now you can see the multi-collar bearing. Multi-collar bearing able to withstand higher axial force as well as radial force also. Now further, this journal bearing is classified according to the bearing surrounded around the journal. For example, the bearing in this diagram surrounded completely over the shaft, so it is called full journal bearing, whereas the second one only the 120 degree covers the shaft portion. The rest of the portions are not covered by the bearing, so it is called partial journal bearing. So the partial journal bearings are used only where the load is acting only in certain direction only. For example, in this case, when the load is acting vertically, then only this type of partial journal bearings are applicable. Whereas the another type of bearing is fitted journal bearing. These bearings are not having clearance. So this is called simply fitted bearing. Then we can see the another type of journal bearing, that is pivot bearing. Pivot bearing is used in the say screw conveyors. Second classification is based on the film thickness between the journal as well as and the bearing. So if the film thickness between 8 to 20 micrometers, then we can say that thick film lubrication bearing. Whereas and then we can see when we are having thick film between the journal and bearing, when this value, this coefficient of friction 0.002 to 0.010. This is the very minimum value. Whereas we can see the next one is the thin film bearing, thin film lubrication bearing, where the coefficient of friction is higher than the thick film bearing. Because of the film layer is very minimum, so the coefficient of friction is raised. Then the boundary lubrication, when the coefficient of friction is higher, that is mostly the metal to metal contact occurs. Then third classification based on the lubrication mechanism. So one is the hydrodynamic lubricating bearing, the other one is hydrostatic lubricated bearing, the third one is elasto hydrodynamic lubricated bearings, boundary lubricated bearings, and solid film lubricated bearings. Whereas the first three bearings, we are using oil or grease, something as lubricating oil, whereas the boundary and the solid film lubricated bearings, we are using grease as a lubricating material. So here we can see the say how this journal bearing is working. Say this is the journal, this is the bearing, in between the space available to fill the lubricating oil. So when the oil is filled in this chamber, automatically we can see this gap is filled with lubricating oil, while the load is applied from the vertically. When this shaft is say supported by a thin film which bear the load, so no metal to metal contact occurs. So now you can see the assembly of the journal bearing. Here the journal bearing is split into two halves, then two halves are fixed, one half is at the bottom, another half is at the top, and then the cover is fixed over the top of the bearing, and is whereas the shaft is fixed in through the hole. So this is a solid journal bearing, whereas in the previous thing you can see the bearing is made of two halves, whereas in this bearing the entire part is made of solid single piece, whereas this material is mostly gunmetal or some soft material, so which does not create the more friction to the shaft. And then another type of journal bearings, here you can see that two splitted off of the journal bearing. In this many grooves are made in order to say keep the oil in these grooves, and while it rotates the oils are being circulated over the surface, so that the coefficient of friction is minimized, metal to metal contact also reduced. Whereas you can see the another simple type of journal bearing, it is not like a tubular, whereas the hole is made for pouring the, say, lubricating oil. Say another simple type, these type of bearings are say fixed in the pumps, and then this is another type of journal bearing where you can see the small impressions are made as well as grooves are made in order to store the oil in the chamber, which will reduce the friction. So the one of the important application of the journal bearing is that is used in the engine. So engine, you can see this is the crankshaft, then this is the bearing made of two halves. Then here you can see the assembly, where the first half is placed in this place, and then over that the crankshaft is placed, then remaining half of the bearing is placed over that, and over the top the cap is fixed. So this is one of the important application which is mainly available mostly in all the engines. This type of bearings are used. So now little bit we see how this journal bearings are working. So the first case you can see at stationary condition the load is acting vertically, so there is a metal to metal contact. But while it starts to rotate, what will happen? So the center is moving, so that what happens, the oil is sucked by slowly into the gap. So the bearing starts to move. While the bearing starts to moving at a certain speed, here we can see entirely the shaft, that is journal, and the bearings are being separated in this diagram, where it shows the running condition. Say now let us see the advantages and disadvantages of the journal bearings. So advantages, if we say the advantage, of course very simple design. Of course another advantage is less space requirement. So the entire arrangement of the say bearing assembly become compact. The third is less cost, and then operate more silently. The fifth advantage is a good shock and load capacity, ideally suited for medium and high speed operation. Disadvantage, of course, because of the higher coefficient of friction when compared to the roller bearings, so the power loss is more, and it requires good attention to the lubrication. That means we have to look into the say oil level of the bearing, so that always the two metals, that is journal as well as bearing, is being separated. If the enough lubricant is not available, metal to metal contact occurs. So it is, and then these bearings are designed to carry radial load or axial load alone. So now let us see another say important bearing is that ball or roller bearing. So these are called ball or roller bearing. Why they are called ball or roller bearing? Because of the rolling element may be balls or may be rollers. So in this case you can see the various components of the bearing. One is say outer ring, another is say cage which will hold the balls in its place. So these are balls, steel balls, are fixed in the cage, then it is taken to the inner ring, then outer ring is placed over it. So we are getting like this assembly. So now you can see the two different types of bearings in the rolling element bearings. So here the rolling element is ball, here the rolling element is roller. So and then apart from the say rolling ball bearing and roller bearing, here you can see the ball bearings are also having some more classification based on the orientation as well as the number of balls. Here you can see this single row deep groove ball bearing. So here this groove is made into deep, so it is called deep groove ball bearing. And then here we are providing notch. Notch is nothing but a say slot, so it is called filling notch bearing, filling notch ball bearing. Then here you can see the angular contact bearing. So the angular contact bearing means while we are applying load, the contact will be made along the certain angle. So it is called angular contact bearing. And then here you can see the double row ball bearing and then self-aligning ball bearing. The same way we can see the say roller bearings are also many in types. So here you can see the cylinder roller bearing, spherical roller bearing, say needle roller bearing, and then taper roller bearing. What is needle bearing? When the diameter of the roller is very minimum when compared to the length, then it is called needle. So needle bearings. Say in general, we summarize the say classification of the bearings. So roller bearings alone, that is rolling element bearings are classified according to the rolling element. One is ball bearing, another one is roller bearings. So in the ball bearings, we are having radial ball bearings as well as thrust ball bearings. So here you can say single row deep groove ball bearing. So single row of balls are available and they are arranged in a deep groove. Then single row angular contact ball bearings. So here we can see the line which shows the contact is made along the angular direction. Then the another one is called tubeless angular contact ball bearing. Here nothing but two angular contact ball bearings are arranged in opposite direction. So it is called tubeless angular contact ball bearing. Whereas double row angular contact ball bearing, so it is entirely different from the tubeless. Whereas this we are having two balls are arranged in the same bearing, but here two bearings are made together. Then 4-point contact ball bearings, then self-aligning ball bearings, then rolling bearing unit ball bearings. If you take thrust ball bearings and then high speed tubeless angular contact ball bearings. Once again, high speed tubeless means double angular contact ball bearings. Here you can see the double bearings. Then double direction angular contact thrust bearings. Say double direction, one is in this direction and one is in this direction. So it is called double direction on angular contact ball bearings. Whereas roller bearings also classified based on the load carrying capacity, radial roller bearings as well as thrust roller bearings. Radial roller bearings are classified further: single row cylindrical roller bearings, double row cylindrical roller bearings, and then needle roller bearings, single row taper roller bearings, double row taper roller bearings, self-aligning roller bearings. Whereas the thrust roller bearings are also classified into cylindrical roller thrust bearings, needle roller thrust bearings, and then taper roller thrust bearings, self-aligning thrust roller bearings. So these are the entire classification of the rolling element bearings. Now we can see the individually how these bearings are looks according to the construction. You can see the deep groove ball bearing. Here we are having deep grooves on both inner and outer race. The ball is fixed in between. So while we are having deep groove ball bearing, we can apply some amount of axial load also, whereas the radial load can be applied applied to the maximum quantity. This is the angular contact ball bearing. So here you can see the contact between the ball and outer race as well as ball on the inner race made on the angular direction. So this is called having angular contact. So it is called angular contact ball bearings. So this is the effective center. The line connect the both contact lines are meeting at a point that is called effective load center. Effective load center means this entire load is acting at this center because of the angular contact. Then cylindrical roller bearing. So this is a cylindrical roller bearing because of the roller is a rolling element is a cylindrical roller. Here taper roller bearings. So roller is arranged in a taper roller. Roller is a taper one. So here you can apply the axial load as well as radial load. Then self-aligning roller bearings. So why we are required this type of bearings? Because when the shaft is very lengthy one, the very difficult to align those bearings. For example, one bearing in this place, another bearing is 2 meter apart. When these two bearings are aligned together, that is very difficult to maintain the straight line. So in that case, if you are using this type of self-aligning bearing, so some say alignment can be done automatically. So the thrust bearing. Here you can see a thrust bearing is nothing but which will say able to withstand the more axial load. So for example, this is the housing for washer. So these are all the balls, and then these are another shaft washer. Okay. Now we are providing a shaft here. The shaft should not touch the base. So it is fixed until this. So that this base housing washer is kept stationary, and this starts rotating over the balls. So now you can see there is some assembly of the say roller bearing. This is a deep groove ball bearing where you can see this is a metal made of this is cage. We can call it as cage. This cage is made of say some soft material, and it will locate the balls in its place. As while it locates, the balls can be rotate as well as it can orbit around the grooves provided in the outer ring as well as in the inner ring. So this is the thrust bearing. Say you can see the top ring, lower ring, and then middle cage with the balls. Here you can see the guideways for the bearing rotation. This is the double row ball bearing. So two rows of balls are arranged in a single bearing. So it is called double row ball bearing. So the another one we can see these are the roller bearings. The same way here you can see the rollers, which are the rollers are the rolling element. Then you can see the cage, then outer ring, then inner ring. The same way as we have single row, double row ball bearing, here also we can see the single row, double row roller bearings. So these roller bearings are having more stiffness than the ball bearing, and the accuracy level of these rollers are higher than when compared to the ball bearings. So here this is some kind of bearing that is called tandem bearing. What is tandem bearing? When two bearings are arranged adjacently in a series manner, then we call it as tandem bearings. Where this type of bearings are used? Of course, this type of bearings are used where more accuracy is required. So, for example, it can be used in the machine spindle, CNC machine spindle, or maybe CMM spindle, where we require more accurate movements. There is no wobbling. For example, if the shaft starts rotating like this, so automatically the parts machined in that machine will be getting lower accuracy. So in that case, we can use such type of say tandem bearings. Say this is the taper roller bearing. So here we are having roller bearing, but roller is a taper roller, not a cylindrical roller. This is a taper roller bearing. So these are the components of the taper roller bearings. Then this is the needle bearing. Here you can see the cut section of the needle bearing. In the cut section you can see the outer ring covers the entire needle, and the needle is placed once again in the cage, and it is fitted into the shaft or machine wherever it is required. So this is because of the diameter of the roller is less, it is called needle. Say taper roller thrust bearings. So here we can see the taper roller thrust bearing. So which is most applicable for the screw conveyor. So here you can see the taper rollers, and then bottom washer, then this is the upper washer. So this is the collection of bearings. You can see the bearings, deep groove ball bearing, how it looks, and then you can see the cylindrical roller bearing, then angular contact roller bearing, self-aligning ball bearing. That means this inner ring, outer ring can be little bit, say, oscillate with each other, so that alignment can be done automatically. Then thrust bearing. Here thrust bearing, here is the inner bottom washer or one side washer. It is having L shape. Then another washer having another L shape. So in between the ball is located. Then needle roller bearing, spherical roller bearing. Spherical roller bearings are mostly self-aligned bearings. Then taper roller bearing. Okay, now we know that what are the different kinds of bearings are available. So now let us see on what basis we are going to select the bearing for some suitable application. So what are the criteria we have to consider for the selection of the bearing? So the first criteria is the dimensional limitation. Of course, the machine structure, if it is a machine component is the larger one, of course that will lead to the say largest shaft of the machine. When the shaft diameter is larger, of course we have to select the inner ring of the bearing is a larger one. Then automatically, so the shaft diameter becomes the one of the say important dimension which will determine the size of the bearing. So for the purpose in catalogs or maybe in the data book, the bearings are indicated according to the inner diameter or bore diameter of the bearing. Based on the bore diameter only, we have to select the bearing for the required application. The second criteria is the bearing load. So on which type of load type of load the bearing has to be selected. For example, a machine there is a radial load or axial load is acting, then we have to select accordingly. For example, say in the diagram, that is whether the load is an axial load or radial load, whether the load is combined with the axial and radial. Based on that only we have to select the bearings. And then apart from that, so load carrying capacity. So whether the bearing can withstand the higher load, lower load or medium load. So based on that the bearings are also classified: lightweight, light capacity, medium capacity and high capacity bearings. So based on that we are going to select the bearing. So the load is another deciding factor which will decide the selection of the bearings. Even in the data books or the books catalogs, we can see the load carrying capacity against the each series of bearings. So where we can see the maximum load or larger load that bearing can be withstand. So based on the larger load carrying capacity, we can select the bearing. Then rotational speed. Of course, now we are having the machine or the shaft component is rotating or the spindle is rotating from say 40, 50 to 40,000, 50,000 RPM. So the selection of bearing is mainly based on the RPM, that is rotational speed. So the allowable speed of the bearing will depend upon the bearing type, that is whether it is a light load bearing or medium load bearing or high load bearing, then size of the bearing, tolerances of the bearing elements, then cage material, how it is made, the cage material, and the load, whether the load is heavy load or light load. Then lubricating condition, whether we are going to lubricate by grease or by oil. Then cooling condition, if we are using oil, the oil has to be cooled continuously in order to maintain the optimum temperature. So the cooling condition. So if the speed is higher, of course we require some cooling medium or cooling system. Then allowable speed listed in the bearing tables for grease and oil lubrication are for normal tolerance bearings. Normally the allowable speed indicated in the tables are meant for normal tolerance bearings. In general, deep groove ball bearings and angular contact ball bearings and cylindrical roller bearings are more suitable for high speed applications. Then bearing tolerance. Dimensional accuracy and operating tolerance of the bearings are regulated by International Standard Organization and Japanese industrial standards. For equipment requiring high tolerance shaft, run-out or high-speed operation, bearings with class 5 tolerance or higher are recommended. So here the equipment which require higher precision, we have to go for the high tolerance bearings. So the high tolerance bearings are mostly high tolerance, there is low tolerance value, there is high. If the class value is increasing, means tolerance level goes higher. When the tolerance value, there is number goes down, then the tolerance level goes down. That is the product is, that is the component is made more accurately. So the deep groove ball bearing, angular contact ball bearing and cylindrical roller bearings are more recommended for high rotational tolerance. So what is the rotational tolerance? So if the shaft is rotating, it should rotate like this, so in a circular manner. When the tolerance level is very high, that means tolerance value of the components, inner race, outer race, and then balls are high, automatically the shaft will not rotate in a perfect round. It automatically becomes a little bit wobbling or little bit oval shape rotation take place. So this is the very important factor we have to consider when the bearings are used in the machine components. Then rigidity. So whenever the bearing get elastic deformation, the contact surface of the bearings, rolling elements and race surfaces under loading. That means when the elastic deformation occurs, of course the rolling element and rays, inner rays and the outer rays are getting loaded. So with certain types of equipment, it is necessary to reduce this deformation as much as possible. So that if the deformation occurs, automatically metal to metal contact occurs, then the functionality of the machinery goes down. Roller bearings exhibit less elastic deformation than ball bearings. Furthermore, in some cases, bearings are given load in advance, that is called preloading, to increase their rigidity. That is, the bearing is fitted with certain tight fit, so that initially the bearing starts that is little bit hardly, then after some time the bearing starts rotate freely, so that the run out will not take place in the bearing. Then misalignment of inner outer rings shaft, outer ring shaft flexure variations in shaft or housing accuracy and fitting errors. These are all misalignment. Misalignment take in the inner or outer rays fixing, or maybe shaft and housing fixing. There may be inaccuracy happen. Then another some fitting errors when you are mounting the bearing on the shaft or maybe in the housing, say misalignment take place. Result in certain degree of misalignment between the bearings and inner and outer rings. In case where the degree of misalignment is relatively large, self-aligning ball bearings, spherical roller ball bearings, or bearings with unit self-aligning properties are the most appropriate choice. Then noise and torque levels. So rolling bearings are manufactured and processed according to high precision standards, and therefore generally produce only slight amount of noise and vibration torque. For application requiring particular low noise and low torque operation, deep groove ball bearing and cylindrical roller bearings are most appropriate. Then temperature and other environmental conditions. So while we are selecting the bearing, where we are going to use those type of bearings, where the machine is located, that we have to consider. For example, a machine is located nearby the seashore, of course it will be rusting quickly. So we have to consider the environmental condition also. So for example, if the bearing is operating at higher temperature, so we have to consider the viscosity of the oil. So when the temperature rises, automatically the viscosity of the oil goes down. So when the oil viscosity goes down, of course sealing is become difficult. Then the grease is preferable for the low speed and lower operating temperature. Of course, when the temperature is very low and the operating speed is much lesser, then we can use grease as lubricating medium. Then whereas the temperature rises when we are using grease, automatically after certain degree of temperature, the grease starts to melt and evaporates, whereas then the metal to metal contact take place. For lower speed and low temperature operation, sealed bearings are recommended, and the sealed bearings are lubricated only one time for its whole life. The rest of the time no need of lubricating these bearings. So they are called sealed bearings. Then for corrosive environment, so corrosive environment means where it is seashore, then special coated bearings or maybe ceramic bearings are being used. Then dirty condition. When the dirty, for example, machine is running in a cement industry, the cement particles or the carbon particles are much abrasive in nature. So in that case we have to go for sealed bearings. So now let us have some comparison between the rolling bearings and then sliding bearings. So here you can see there are so many elements, inner ring, outer ring, and the rolling element and cage also there. Here it is very simple. You can see the rotating axis or shaft, then bearing. So according to the dimension of course, so in order to have all these elements, it require more area, more space, whereas this journal bearings are required very less area. And then friction, of course, compared to the friction, say the friction torque is extremely very small during rotation at startup, whereas in this case at startup stage friction is more, and then during rotation the friction is reduced little, not much higher. Then internal clearance can be used by making internal clearance negative to provide rigidity as a bearing. So by providing less clearance we can provide the rigidity. With its clearance there is no less amount of say clearance. So rigidity cannot be much provided in this bearing. Then lubrication. As a rule, lubricant is required for all types of rolling element bearings, whether it may be a grease or maybe oil. And then these bearings are sensitive to the dirt. If dirt particles enter into this chamber, automatically that will wear all the rotating components. Some types can be used without lubricant, generally speaking, are comparatively less to dirt. Oil lubricating conditions also required.